Does consciousness originate in the brain? What do near-death experiences tell us about the afterlife? Will your consciousness continue beyond the death of your body? Hi, my name is Jeff Coe, and my partner and I have been thinking about the nature of consciousness and the possibility of life after death for more than 30 years. Research on the subject of near-death experiences is presently being conducted in research institutes all around the world, and some of these studies have been ongoing for decades. In fact, I was surprised to learn that there's a department of near-death studies at the University of Virginia right here in my hometown of Charlottesville. Over 200 published studies have been featured in journals as prestigious as The Lancet. My research partner and I will provide more data and research links to these publications in the description of this video below.
What do you think happens when we die?
Nothing.
You think we're just dead, lights out?
Yep.
So my partner and I are making this video to summarize the current level of scientific research being done in this field. Specifically, we will touch on what the current science is saying around the question of what is and isn't the origin of the human mind. Does consciousness originate in the brain? We will look at the levels of research being done around the world on the subject of near-death experiences and whether a medical reason exists for this known phenomenon. Dr. Pim van Lommel studied medicine at Utrecht University in the Netherlands. In 1988, Dr. Lommel launched a prospective study of people who reported NDEs while their brains and hearts were in a state of clinical death. His study included 10 Dutch hospitals and 344 survivors of complete cardiac failure. This large prospective study was eventually published in the medical journal Lancet in 2001. Then, in 2007, Dr. Lommel published his seminal work, Consciousness Beyond Life: The Science of Near-Death Experience. According to Dr. van Lommel, all of his patients experienced a state of enhanced consciousness during their NDE experience, where, by all accounts, the brain was no longer in a working or functional state. In other words, clinically dead. This enhanced state included clear thought, clear emotion, and memories that remained vivid for many years after the event. No modern explanation that assumes that the brain creates the mind can explain this conscious state. If the brain creates consciousness, then there should be no awareness when the cells of the brain are no longer functioning or interacting with each other. And it would be one thing if we were talking about 1 or 2 cases of this type. But we're talking about a study that involves 344 people who all entered a state of cardiac arrest and had a brain that was clinically brain dead or simply offline for a measurable span of time. Due to advances in brain scanning technology, Dr. Lommel's research found that the enhanced experience continued during a period where the circuitry of the brain had ceased to function. So according to Dr. Lommel, consciousness cannot be considered a local brain effect. The brain facilitates the mind, but does not create or produce it. And those who try to dispel the evidence for this conclusion are clinging to beliefs about the brain that are not supported by either research or fact. Another extensive researcher in this field, Dr. Jeffrey Long, established the Near-Death Experience Research Foundation in 1998, in part to allow people to submit their own near-death experiences online.
Back in 2021, there was a billionaire by name of Robert Bigelow, and he had a huge contest where he was seeking an essay, 25,000 words, that had the best scientific evidence for survival of consciousness, or if you will, life after death. So over 1,000 people submitted essays because, well, the prize money was huge. And over 200 essays were selected for review by a very scholarly panel of judges. And so as a result of that, of the 200 essays reviewed was some of the most stringent scholarly peer review imaginable for subject matter like that.
There are currently over 5,300 NDEs posted on the NERF website today, and this represents the largest collection of publicly accessible NDE accounts anywhere in the world.
Back in the day, as an amateur bodybuilder, I was taking a fairly new supplement. Turns out the supplement was toxic, and I ended up aspirating in a public bathroom. I had passed out and started to vomit, and I ended up dying right there on the bathroom floor. So they think I was dead for at least 30 to 45 minutes before they found me, but I was likely dead well over an hour total.
Velma Thomas was pronounced dead for 17 hours, her body cold, lifeless. But then, against all odds, she came back, alive, and with a message so powerful it left everyone in shock.
Velma Thomas holds the world record for the person who spent the most time in a state of official clinical death before returning fully to life and consciousness without observable ill effects. Medical students are taught that after a minute without oxygen, brain cells will begin to die, and that after 10 minutes, your brain has suffered irreversible brain damage. So how could Velma Thomas have had no pulse, no brain waves, or other signs of life for 17 hours and then return to life without any ill effects? Perhaps what scientists think they know about the brain and the mind is not the entire story.
So the experience that I had happened in a suburb of New Orleans, Louisiana, and I don't remember the accident, but we were hit by a young teenage driver who was doing 60 miles an hour and hit us, and our bodies were thrown more like 20 feet. They found my shoes far away.
So at 23 years old, I wake up in the morning one day, and the first thing you think, it's the weekend. How do you enjoy your day and your night? Want to drink, hang out, and one phone call after another led to, hey, come to my house. And I had about 10, I don't know how many grams of mushrooms, and there was cocaine there and alcohol and marijuana. So I say, hey, I'm gonna leave. This is not that fun. So I ended up saying, where's my keys? Let's get in the car. As soon as I'm driving, I'm getting lost and confused. And I start to notice zipping and flashing, not realizing that it was me driving in a residential area over 100 kilometers an hour. And I'm just getting dizzy, and I ended up crashing into two cars, blacking out.
But I was cold, like cold to the touch. And then out of nowhere, I felt like I was sitting in a very comfortable movie chair. And I was watching this movie, but the movie was this scene of this body on the ground. And I was looking at everything from above. But what's weird is it didn't feel like it was me at all. Even though I was sitting there looking at my own dead body, I couldn't recognize it.
But what I remember was suddenly being above my body, floating, kind of facing down. I was looking down, and I saw this mangled little blonde-haired girl, and it was surprising that I saw that it was me. And I was looking at me and the scene and the whole scene as if I was watching a movie, literally.
And I smash into the corner foundation of someone's home, instantaneously eject headfirst out of the vehicle. I'm unconscious, but I'm aware in this silence, and I notice stillness, no pain, no suffering, but then I can see my body stuck, crushed in between my waist out of the car, my whole body, my leg was stuck in the car. I was able to come in and out of my body. I felt as if my soul needed my body to survive, and I was able to drag myself out of that car and lay unconscious on the passenger side, and that's when my spirit left my body again.
And a weird thing is I could actually hear the thoughts of everybody in the restaurant. I could hear every single thought that they had, including even the cook, which was so odd to me.
The space that I was looking down at my body was a place that I had been before, and I was watching almost like a movie.
So meanwhile, I am just lucid, aware of the ambulance coming, trying to resuscitate me, and speaking in ways that I was like shocked that, we're losing too much blood. We're losing him. So they strap me up and they're trying to revive me, and they take me into the ambulance, and I'm near my body, but I'm observing and noticing my body. And It made me feel like, what can I do with this information? Like, I can see the lady and I can see the guy, and I'm seeing the driver, and that's not me because I was unconscious and I'm laying there and they're trying to resuscitate me. But me, the I, was able to leave the ambulance and look at the ambulance driving to the hospital.
Obviously, when it comes to the question of life after death, everyone must make up their own mind as to what they think is real or illusion. There is certainly no scientific consensus on the question of whether consciousness can exist beyond the physical body. On the other hand, the level of detailed research being done on this subject should give those who decided to believe the assumption that the brain is the source of your conscious mind a reason to reconsider. Prestigious medical journals like Lancet do not publish scientific research if the methodology behind that research is either misleading or flawed. And the mountain of research that has been done on this subject would take an honest researcher many, many years to cover. And this should give one pause, and, at the very least, cause one to approach the subject with an honest and open mind. Stay tuned as we continue this exploration.
And that was like the ceiling of all this for me.
Yeah.
That this was a real experience. It wasn't a delusion. This wasn't my imagination. And I was able to take it and do something with it.
Is there anything that happened during that experience that you hold back, you don't usually talk about?
Yes, there is. I saw our future as a society, and it looks way different than we are right now. And it's taken years and years for me to unpack how that transition happens from who we are now to who we become. No matter what the news wants to tell you, no matter what Chicken Little is saying about the sky falling, I want you to know our future is absolutely freaking amazing.
You can find the link to this and other near-death experience videos in the description of this video below. Thank you. Please click like and subscribe.